Okay, so let's go ahead and run this again. I'm going to set a breaking point right here. This last else if statement. I'm just going to set a breaking point right here and go ahead and run this. Okay, so now this condition is true. We see loop count is 9321, which is equal to 9321, of course. So this box holds that integer value, which is equal to that. So now that this is true, now it's going to execute this code and keep stepping. Okay, it threw up the message box. Now it changed the text in the back color, and now it changes this variable keep looping to false. So let's see what happens here. Let's go up here. Okay, now this is false, right? This is false, but it's going to keep looping because this condition is true, right? So we're using the logical OR, so only one of these have to be true. So just one of these needs to be true, right? And this one's true, so it's just going to keep executing this code one statement at a time, right? It's going to keep executing that as long as this condition is true. And the whole condition is true right now because we only need one of these to be true, right? These sub-conditional tests, you might call them. So it's just going to keep looping, and it's going to keep going until loop count is equal to that 10,000, right? Or as long as it's less than that, right? Once it equals that, or is greater than that, then this condition becomes false, right? So as long as it's less than, as long as what's in this box, what's in this variable is less than 10,000, then this is going to be true. And we only need one of these to be true because we're using the logical OR, right? This one or that one, right? If we're using the AND here, the two ampersands, then both of these would have to be true, right? So the condition, the whole condition is still true. Even though this is false, the whole condition is still true, so it's just going to keep looping, right? Okay, so I'm going to unset this breaking point here, and let's look at this code that's commented out. I'm going to uncomment it, and we're going to take a look. We have another keyword here. It's called continue. Continue. What continue does is it basically just says start over. Just go back to the beginning, right? Just start over. Just skip the rest of this. Skip all of this. All right. Just skip this. Skip the rest of this block, and just go back to the very beginning. Go ahead and check the condition again, and just start over. So it just says continue. Just says start over, right? Basically, it's just start over. It's like pressing the start over button or whatever, just start over. So just skip the rest of this and just go straight back up to the conditional test, and if it's true, then then keep executing, right? So let's set a breaking point right here, right? Or you can set it right here, either way. And let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so now this is true. This is greater than, if loop count, if what's in this box is greater than 1,000, then it becomes true. And you can see it holds a value of 1001, so therefore it is true. So now it's going to execute what's in this block, and the only thing in this block is this continue, right? So watch what happens when it executes this. Goes back to the top, right? It just skips everything down here and just goes back to the while condition test. So it just went from here to it's back here, right? Yeah, so just skip the rest of this stuff, skip the rest of the block, and just shot right back up to the while condition, right? So now it's checking the condition again. The condition is still true. Both of these are true, so only one of them need to be true, but both of them are true. And just going to keep going. And this is still true, right? Loop count is still greater than 1,000, has a value of 1,002. So this is just going to keep being true, right? It's going to So it's just going to keep going back up here until these conditions become false. And actually this is an infinite loop. This is an infinite loop because this is never going to change. All right, so we change it here, but it's never going to make it this far. It's never going to make it this far because this is going to keep being true, and it's just going to keep starting over. So that's all the continue does. Okay, so I want to briefly talk about the do-while loops. You're probably not going to use these a lot, but just want you to be aware of them. The difference between a do-while loop and a regular while loop is the do-while loop will execute the code block first and then check the while conditional test. Remember, with while loops, it first checks the while conditional test, and while that conditional test is true, it'll keep executing the code block. With the do-while block, it executes the code block first and then checks the while loop conditional test, right? So our conditional test is while the loop count is less than 1,000, then keep executing this code block, but it's going to execute it first, right? So let's go ahead and run this. And go to the output window, and we can see it's executing that condition is true. It's going to be true until it gets to 1,000. So now that the loop count is 1,000, it's no longer less than 1,000, so this becomes false, so it stops executing the code. And let's go ahead and stop this. And let's change this to false. I'm just going to change this condition to a literal false. So we know the condition is false. It's definitely false because we have false in our conditional test, right? So let's go to output, and we can see, try that one more time, get the double arrows. Alright, so we can see that it did indeed execute in that code block, but it only did it one time. It executed, so it executed this code block, right? It did that off the rip, and then checked this condition. This condition is, of course, false. So then the do-while loop stopped. So that concludes this video on while loops, and I will see you in the